Shalom, y'all. Imove here, and I know it's been a long time since I did a video. Over 2 months, maybe, somewhere in there. Yeah, but I wanted to come and do a video for you guys, but I didn't know what I wanted to do it on. I know there's a lot of things I had planned, but I really didn't know what I wanted to do it on. But this morning, I was watching a video by Israelite Prepper. Yeah, Israelite Prepper, I think his name is. And he was doing one on head coverings. And I thought he did an excellent job with that. So what I wanted to do is to come back and do an addendum or a backup to what he was saying, because he did some excellent points. He gave some excellent points on the affirmative of why women should wear head coverings, but there were a few things that that could be added to that. So as a woman's point of view, I wanted to come back and add to that, because a lot of times women will get upset when the man does a video on head coverings, like, what does he know? It's none of his business whether I cover or not. But in actuality, sometimes it is, because especially if you're in the Hebrew culture, if you consider yourself a Hebrew Israelite or Abri Yasharallah, however you want to pronounce it, it is important to you. Okay, now the first thing I wanted to touch on is like he was saying that married women should wear head coverings, and he's right. That's true, because when you look in Torah, and I'm going to Torah, and I'm going to read a couple of verses out of Numbers 5:16 through 18. And let's see. A lot of people talk about, well, it's not a commandment in the Torah. No, it's not a commandment, but it was a culture, a custom in the culture. Okay, let me back up a little bit, okay? In ancient times, in what they call the Eastern world, now it's really just Northeast Africa, because Israel is in Africa, Northeast Africa, for those of you who didn't know that. Okay, back then, in all those countries, going from East Africa, Northeast Africa, all the way down to West Africa, married women wore head coverings in ancient times. And usually when a young lady was betrothed, when she got betrothed, her first gift as part of her dowry, I think it was a head covering, a veil, or whatever type of head covering that the women wore wherever they were. It was a head covering, and that was just about in every culture. All you have to do is research it. And that was to let a guy know, like modern day, they give you engagement rings, but that was to let men know that she was no longer available. She was now, betrothed, and she, would be married. And so married women after she got married, she would continue to wear that head covering, and men knew when they saw women, okay, in a head covering, that she was married, okay, that it became, once it was her engagement ring, then it became her, like a wedding ring, so to speak. So, yeah, it is important that married women wear head coverings. All right, now, let me get to the scriptures I wanted to read. Okay, and this is to show you that married women in ancient Israel wore head coverings. Okay, now in Numbers, Numbers is part of the Torah, so, hey, don't argue with me. And it says, okay, this has to do with the jealous husband. When the husband thought his wife was cheating, he would take her to the temple and take her to the priest. And here's one of the things that the priest did. And I'm going to read. Okay, I'm starting at verse 16. And it says, and the priest shall bring her near and shall make her stand before Yahuwah. And the priest shall take set apart water in an earthen vessel, and take some of the dust that is on the floor of the dwelling place or the temple, and put it into the water. And the priest shall make the woman stand before Yahuwah, and shall uncover the woman's head, and put the offering for remembering in her hands, which is the grain offering of jealousy, while the priest holds in his hand the bitter water that brings a curse. Okay, now the first thing the priest did was uncover this woman's head. So that lets you know she had something on her head. You know, that's not just this woman. That's any woman that her husband thought she was cheating, that he took to the priest. So he would uncover her head. You know, so again, she was a married woman with a head covering. Okay, and I just wanted to bring that out, but he brought out other verses like the one in Isaiah where the women wore all the different kind of head coverings and the bonnets and all that. You know, you can find that in Isaiah. I didn't write that verse down, but it's there. Okay, now, I did this study years ago, just before I started covering myself. It was called 2,000 Years of Head Coverings, which was, it was a pretty good study. And it took you from ancient times, and it showed you the women, like in the catacomb, Hebrew women, you know, in catacombs, it was painted all over the walls, and it brought you all the way down through the history. And the reason women started uncovering themselves was due to feminism. Yeah, that's right. It was due to feminism. It started like in the early 60s, the late 50s and early 60s, that they started getting away because you Hebrew woman, you know, when your mama and your grandmama and great-grandmama and Aunt Bessie and all them went to church, they had on hats. They would never step into church without a hat. And that not only us, even in white churches, women just covered. They wore hats. They would go to the grocery store and wear hats. You know, they didn't go nowhere without putting on a covering or scarf or something. You know, that's just the way it was. And then these feminists came along with this, that represents male dominance. Well, yeah, in a sense it does. It's, you know, let you know that you're under a rule of a husband. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, we come from a patriarchal society, which now has, in the Western world, turned into this matriarchal thing, which is, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a freak of nature, because it's not supposed to be a matriarchal system. The man's supposed to rule, okay? And when saying that, if you are a married woman, and your husband asks you to cover your head, then you cover your head. You know, you don't go around, you know, arguing with him, rolling your eyes, and like scripture calls it, a haughty look. That's rolling your eyes, and because can't nobody roll their eyes like a sister, and can't nobody roll that neck like a sister, because we got that down, and it talks about us in the scriptures. But anyway. A head covering in Hebrew society represents that you have a husband, or that you have placed yourself under the rule of the Most High. Yeah, I used to have a husband, but he decided that he didn't want to walk peacefully with me anymore, because I woke up, you know, I became conscious of who I am, and I started following the ways of the Most High and walking this path in Torah. And he decided he didn't want to. You know, he said we will agree to disagree, and we did that for some years, because I've been in this walk 9 years, almost, you know, going on 10, and he just decided he didn't want to. And so, you know, he just decided, after listening to the authorities or the heads in the denomination we was in, that he could let me go, because I was now in the cult and I wasn't doing the Christian walk, when in reality he was the one not following the way. So we parted ways. We did what we had to do, and he also gave me a get, you know, a Hebrew get. He willingly signed it, and so I can go on about my life. But anyway, long story short, yes, ladies, there's nothing wrong. I've seen some beautiful head coverings that women wear. You know, it's nothing wrong with them. And most women don't want to wear them because, I'm just saying, it's just vanity. You know, it's just vanity. A lot of sisters still wear weaves, and they pay all that money to get their hair done, and so they don't want to cover it up. Then there are women who went natural, and they like the way their natural hair looks now, and so they don't want to cover that up. You know, but in reality, if you have a husband who asks you to cover, then you need to cover. You know, you don't have to do it like everybody else. If you just put a veil over the top of your head, you know, that's all you need to do. And plus, if you're a woman in the way, and if somebody asks you to pray for them, then you got to go run and find something to cover your head, because we know Scripture says to cover your head when when you prophesy and when you're praying. I mean, why not be covered already? You know, it makes it so much easier. Okay, so I just wanted to come back, you know, and add this little bit to what he was saying, because what he said is true. You know, but a lot of women is not going to want to listen to him because he is a man. So I wanted to come back as a woman, as an older woman, you know, to let you guys know that, yes, it is a good idea to do so. And now, one thing he was saying about the angels, cover for the angels. Now, I tend to lean toward yes, and there is a time and a place where people are possessed, you know, and they do, well, anyway, that's a whole nother video. Anyway, like I said, ladies, you know, if you're a woman and you're married and your husband wants you to cover, then cover. If he don't, then fine. You know, he's your head and you do what he wants you to do. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up, and it was nice talking to you guys again, you know. So, and if this is the first time you ever watch one of my videos, subscribe, then hit the little bell over there, so when the next video comes up, you can get notification. Okay, guys, you know, it was, like I said, it was nice talking to you again, and with that, I'm gonna say shalom.